This is NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Now, talking local, regional, and international NASCAR racing. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
Welcome back to this week's episode of NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network. It is Wednesday, March 13th, 2019, and unfortunately, Kyle Rickey is not here to join me this week. He's out hanging out in California. He says it's on business with Fontana coming up this weekend, but I would not be surprised if we see some pictures show up on Facebook of him at Disneyland. But that being said, so excited to have guest co-host in the studio today with me, Andy Seuss. Andy, thanks so much for coming in and helping me out while Kyle's gone.
Thanks for having me.
So, a lot of short tracks kicking off. We've seen some tracks open up their seasons. The K&N West is open. K&N East is opened up. But what are you up to this season?
Fortunately, I got the call from Brian Doza to run Myrtle Beach this coming weekend in the modified. So, not really a lot of plans in the modified. Going to go ARCA racing part-time. Kind of running the Hour Motorsports has taken over my life. We are expanding. New shop, new cars, announcement coming soon. So that's pretty exciting. You know, we'll always have the family-owned number 70 Rockingham Boat Modified that no doubt will be at Loudon, and you know, that being our home track for the Whelen Modified Tour, being from New Hampshire. But things are a little bit open. So if somebody would like me to drive, I'll take it this weekend. Myrtle Beach, place we've had success in the past with the Southern Tour. Looking forward to get back to there. Actually, just got done setting the caster on that before headed over here. So excited for this weekend. Make the most out of every opportunity, and beyond that, back to Talladega with the ARCA series, and you know, hopefully build on that.
All over the place. I see your post on Facebook recently, too, that was like, anyone want to come help me? Please let me know. SOS, I'll provide pizza and beer, I think was what it was, too.
Absolutely. Like I said, big things in the works. Cleaning up a new shop. There'll be more on that soon, and then race cars, everything. So, you know, with social media and press releases being the way they are these days, I can't let everything out. But definitely big things for Hour Motorsports. And like I said, business is kind of taken over my life. I haven't been able to focus on my modified racing like I have in the past. Been fortunate to have great rides that I've been able to focus on, and hopefully get back to that soon, but excited about what's coming up for sure.
There you guys go. That was the hint right there. Stay tuned eventually, and you'll see some news coming out about Andy Seuss. Well, you hinted on it there. NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour opening up this season. Myrtle Beach, I think there's like 34 cars on the entry list, and there's a new duo coming into town, which we're going to talk to him a little bit later. Kyle Benjamin paired up with LFR Chassis, runner-up in last year's championship with Chase Dowling in that 15 car. Kyle's kind of new to this. How hard is that transition into what has been deemed one of NASCAR's most competitive touring divisions?
Well, he's got a great ride with the LFR house car, and everything Rob Fuller's been able to do. Everything Chase Dowling showed that car is capable of last year. So that's going to help his learning curve. You know, I don't know if he's been to Stafford or not with the K&N series when he ran there, but Stafford's a tough track. I know he signed up for there. The only hard thing he's going to have is getting back away from modifieds, because I think he's going to fall in love with the grip level, the excitement, all that. You know, Kyle Benjamin's a race car driver. He's won in super late models and K&N and everything he's been in. I think he'll be a threat right away. Like I said, Stafford's probably the trickiest track that he's signed up for on the schedule I've seen for him this year, because he's not competing full-time. But I don't think you can expect them to have a slow start at all. I think I'm expecting big things out of the gate for them.
Definitely will be interesting to watch as Kyle Benjamin makes that first start with LFR and Rob Fuller this upcoming weekend at Myrtle Beach. We'll talk to him after the break, but also later on in the show, we mentioned short tracks all over the country opening up one weekend at a time. West Coast had a little bit warmer weather as we saw short tracks Tucson Speedway and Irwindale Speedway kick off their seasons. Ryan Vargas, a NASCAR Next alumni, as well as a NASCAR Drive for Diversity alumni, went out to California and won one of the two late model season openers. Also, Trevor Huddleston, a winner. We'll talk to him later on the show when we return on NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network.
O'Reilly. When you purchase your parts at O'ReillyAuto.com, you can pick it up in-store when it's convenient for you. Your parts, tools, or accessories will be waiting at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup. Shop O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications on the road, in the air, and around the world. Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Winged Nation with Steve Post, Aaron Evernham, and Ashley Stremme. Your destination for all things winged sprint cars. Each Saturday at 8:30 and 11:30 a.m. on MAV TV. Live at noon on wingednation.com and Facebook Live. Join us for in-depth conversations with drivers and personalities that make up the greatest dirt racing on earth. The Winged Nation Preview Podcast each Thursday previews the upcoming weekend. Winged Nation, winged sprint car talk covering dirt tracks all across America.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour kicks their 2019 season off this up-and-coming weekend at Myrtle Beach Speedway down in South Carolina. And one of the newcomers to the series, Kyle Benjamin, pairs up with LFR Chassis, and we've got him on the guest line right now. Kyle, thanks for coming on, and looking forward to watching you this season.
But I was saying, yeah, looking forward to getting in the Modified for the first time and trying those LFR cars out. It's going to be a fun season. Really thankful to get that opportunity to do that.
Now, to start things off here, how did it come about to get this partnership going with Rob Fuller over LFR and getting in that 15 car?
Just some talk over the off season between, some of my people and his people, and just really glad that I'm able to get the shot to do that. It's going to be really fun for me to experience new cars and new style of racing, and also get to race against new competitors, so it's going to be fun.
Saw where you're running a limited schedule of Stafford, Thompson, and Loudon. What led you guys to decide to pick those tracks and not go to the other ones?
Honestly, it was kind of what Rob decided. Mostly the bigger races are on our schedule and the ones that we decided to do. So it's, like you said, it's a limited schedule. I think mostly the cool races, in my opinion. So it's going to be fun.
Now, the last couple years of your racing has been primarily stock cars, whether it be super late model, Xfinity. Stock cars, what's the transition going to be like getting back behind the wheel of a modified when originally you have minimal modified experience to begin with?
It's going to be different. Honestly, I kind of compare it more to a super late model than anything else. Obviously, with a bigger tire, they have a lot more grip, lower to the ground, so lower roll center. So it's probably going to be like a faster super, just more grip, and it's going to handle better overall. Actually, the same motor, pretty similar to a super. So it's going to be a lot of fun to drive those cars, very fast and tons of grip.
Now, what are you doing to prepare for this season? Obviously, you have experience at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but a place like Stafford, pretty tricky to get around, as well as competing against guys that have been running there for years. What are some of the steps you take to prepare for that kind of competition?
It's really tough, and a lot like super racing, because in supers you get to go to Pensacola. You have to run against guys like Bubba Pollard that run there all the time, have tons of experience. You get those guys that have been out there running late models their entire life. So it's really similar to that, honestly. Same thing in the modifieds, like you said, people that have been running their entire lives at these tracks that have a lot of history. So just doing the best you can with the limited modified experience you have, and hopefully LFR can bring you up to speed pretty quickly. I know we have a test at Stafford coming up in a week. So between that test, getting to work with the guys and getting the car dialed in, hopefully it'll be enough to get it done.
And you touched on it when you raced supers. There were those guys that have been around and seen success, and we've talked about it as well in the modified series. It seems to be guys who stick around for the long run, such as like Doug Coby and Burt Myers. Have you reached out to any of them to pick their brain, while you also have reigning champion Justin Bonsignor as a teammate?
I'll definitely pick his brain. I haven't yet, but when you have guys like that with a lot of experience surrounding you, you definitely need to talk to them. It doesn't hurt to get modified knowledge where you can.
You know, it's pretty exciting to see you choose to do the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and expand on your racing career, but also just more talent in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. What could we expect from the future? Is this something you plan on expanding on, maybe a all-out points chase in 2020? Or is this just something you wanted to check off your bucket list in 2019?
Andy has bets you're going to fall in love with it and be a full-time modified driver from here on out. So we're dabbling in on this conversation from earlier.
Honestly, I could see myself falling in love with it. The cars are so cool, and it's like I said, it's like almost like a go-kart, really, especially compared to like a heavy stock car. Really similar to a super, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, they're really fast cars. I drove one at Battle of the Beach, really liked it. Although it's not really your typical racetrack, you can kind of feel what it's going to be like. So based on the feeling I got at Battle of the Beach, I could really see how on like a Thompson style track or a Stafford style track, it'd be a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. But as far as chasing a points championship in the future, I'm not really sure what the future holds. But I am really excited for these 10 races I have this year.
Modified racing. Everyone tells me you'll fall in love with it. So this is my plug again at you, Stafford. When you find an SK for me, let me know because I still have not ran a modified yet. So this is my plug to figure out how to drive a modified because like you said, I've heard you fall in love with them and my super late model heart would just be broken. But you said limited schedule. What are your guys' goals going into this season?
The goals are basically to win everything we can. Not running for points, obviously. Just showing up to win, which is my favorite style of racing. So, and I think we'll have a really good shot at it with the LFR guys. They're really smart and always take good cars to the track, especially following what they did last year. You know, it's a really well-prepared team. So, they're a really great group of guys.
Anna touched on a little bit just now about the SK modifieds and the competition there. Have you looked into maybe running some weekly races, when you're at Stafford for the Spring Sizzler, the Thompson Icebreaker, get that much more experience, be that much more ready?
There was talk of running an SK. I don't know where we stand on that, but I know they're trying to get me in an SK modified, which would be nice, and I want to because just to get any experience I can in the modified is valuable to me. So it would be nice to get an SK modified before jumping a tour. But if it doesn't happen, I'm sure it'll be fine. Like I said, the LFR guys are so well prepared, and the cars are going to be so good that I'm sure we'll be good. But as far as I go, I would love to get in an SK modified if that was possible.
Now, I believe I asked you this earlier in the week when we were talking. Had you moved back to Easley, South Carolina?
Yeah, I moved back. No longer in North Carolina.
Gotcha. So you're down in South Carolina, this shop of LFR based up in Massachusetts. Have you been able to get up there, hang out with the team? I mean, that's a pretty good gap of distance between a driver and a team. So what's it been like getting up there, working with the team to get these cars prepared?
Yeah, it is a little bit different because I'm used to everything being in North Carolina. So it's different to have things, like you said, up in Boston so far away. A lot of flying out and back. About to fly back to Boston again to go sit in the car and get fitted, and then go test in Stafford in about a week. So it's it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. Just everything being based out of North Carolina, it's like an hour and a half from my house, so it's not that bad. But yeah, Boston is pretty far.
Now, you touched on you've raced a lot of different race cars, super late models in the past. Is there anything else we can expect to see you in this year?
I really don't know. There's definitely opportunity there to do something different on top of the modified racing. I don't know if anything's going to pan out or work out, but there could be some other stuff. But as far as I know right now, just the modified stuff.
Awesome. Well, Kyle, thank you so much for coming on. We're looking forward to watching you on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour and taking on the veterans and the young guns as we continue to, vouch that the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, one of the strongest. So good luck this season, and thanks again for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Kyle Benjamin looking to make a run in that number 15 LFR car, making his debut with the Modified Tour this season. So when we come back, we'll talk to short tracker Ryan Vargas, who captured the first one of the season out at Irwindale in the late models.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Bubba Wallace bringing the legendary penny colors up the back straightaway.
Bubba Wallace here. You know winning doesn't just happen overnight. To finish first, everything needs to come together to create the perfect combination. STP understands that. Using advanced formula, STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner every 4,000 miles destroys harmful deposits to help restore gas mileage. A winning combination to help restore peak performance in any gasoline vehicle. STP. Science, technology, performance.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Wheeling Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
This weekend, the Irwindale Speedway out in California kicked their season off, headlining with 2 late model races, and of those victories, Ryan Vargas and Trevor Huddleston found their way into victory lane to kick the season off. And we are joined now on the guest line by Ryan Vargas, who picked up one of those late model wins. Ryan, thanks for coming on, and congratulations on that win this weekend.
Thank you. No, that was thank you guys for having me on. That was a real big win for us. You know, spending the off season really just doing a lot of ride hunting. Start off first race of the year with getting a win. That was it's pretty special.
Now, you relocated to North Carolina last year, running for Rev Racing in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East. But this win was out in California. What chimed that idea to maybe go home and get back behind the wheel of a late model?
Yeah, you know, that opportunity kind of arose a little bit mid last year. The guy who bought my old late model, Alec Martinez, he decided to start renting the car out, and you know, he offered me a pretty good deal, and I talked with him throughout the year last season, just keeping that contact. And you know, with the whole deal with Rev kind of falling through, I figured, you know, hey, maybe we should try something. You know, it sounds like a good idea. I mean, I'm very comfortable at Irwindale, so I got a hold of so I reached out to some good buddies of mine, Joseph Lombard at Lombard Bros Gaming, and they were ecstatic, and they jumped on board right away. So big thank you to them for jumping on board, because this whole deal wouldn't be without them. So it's really neat.
Now, you touched on it there. You were with Rev Racing last season in the K&N Pro Series, went to the Combine, weren't selected for their 2019 campaign. What can we maybe see you doing on track this up-and-coming season in 2019?
Yeah, you know, we're doing a lot of late model stuff. We have a total of 26 late model races combined, with racing out here on the West Coast and racing on the East Coast with Lee Falk Racing. That's what we have confirmed so far. There's still a lot of stuff in the works that, you know, I don't know if we're going to be able to do them, or if they're happening, or how many I'm doing. Just still a lot of stuff in the works, and so, you know, it's almost a blessing in disguise. You know, I'm able to go out and do a lot of really neat stuff this year, so I'm very excited to hopefully get some stuff confirmed.
Seems to be a reoccurring thing of can't say anything yet. We've got Andy Seiss here in the studio with me today, hanging out in place of Kyle Rickey. He's actually out in California with you, hanging out in Fontana. It's actually Disneyland. We're not convinced he's actually working, but
I believe it.
Yeah, right. We will wait till we see it on Facebook. It seems to be a reoccurring theme there. But full K&N East season last year, 6th in points. You had 6 top 10s, and that was really your first season with the K&N Pro Series East. What was your biggest takeaway from that season?
You know, my biggest takeaway was just how I had to drive those race cars. You know, they take a whole different driving style compared to the late models that I'm used to driving out here on the West Coast. And, you know, you really have to hustle those big cars, and, you know, having to adjust to how much power and how much weight those cars have, and even having to learn how to race with aero. That was some of the big takeaways I had to learn. And coming back and running the late model just for a couple one-offs like I'm doing out here, it really just kind of changed my confidence going into these races. Like, I came in and I kind of knew that I was one of the favorites to go out there and get a win, and to go out there and capitalize. You know, it was really satisfying to be able to do that. And I tweeted about it. It was a really big confidence booster, because this off season was very stressful, and it was a long process. But to start off by getting a win, yeah, it's in a late model, but you know what? I'm stoked to have that under my belt.
You touched on it there, how important it was to get back to victory lane, your confidence booster, all that. Obviously, the chemistry's there, getting back to your old late model. But what does it mean to just start off on the right foot for the season? You know, your stock goes up a little bit when you're trying to find the right fit. Is it something you're going to look to get back into the K&N series, maybe try to prove yourself, or, you know, ride the wave of success in late models?
You know, it's a little bit of both. You know, I'm not in the position to really get into a K&N car right now because of the fact, you know, expenses are high, especially for that series. So, you know, if something comes about and I'm able to do it, I'm all for it. You know, I feel, you know, if I would have had another year in K&N, I would be able to go out there and start chasing some better finishes, maybe even a win. You know, that first year I was really trying to spend the time learning the tracks, learning the car, and just meshing with the team. And, you know, with some unfortunate circumstances kind of left me out. But you know what? Ruben and Chase are both stellar drivers, and they're probably going to give Rev their first championship in a long time, and I firmly believe that. So I'm excited to go out and run more late model races and hopefully be back in either a K&N car or even something bigger than that.
You mentioned it there, Rev Racing with Chase Cabry and Ruben Garcia back behind the wheel of their K&N East cars this year. Definitely will be interesting to watch that. They're veterans now over at that Rev Racing stable. But last year, you were part of this Rev Racing Drive for Diversity. You were also in the NASCAR Next program, now an alumni of that. What was it like to work hand in hand with NASCAR in two of their most premier programs, integrating, you know, the next generation of youth and minorities in NASCAR?
Yeah, you know, that was it was really neat. You know, I was almost promoted as if I was like a cup driver, you know. Fans know who I was, and I'd go to cup races just to watch, and people would be there knowing who I am, like fans and other crew members and even other drivers. So it was really neat to be able to do that, and it really gave me a lot of really good connections at NASCAR because, you know, I definitely try to capitalize as much as I can, whether it be doing takeovers or even working hands-on with getting some content rolling or even trying to work on furthering my career in the sport. So, you know, it's a really neat process, and I'm very thankful to have been a part of it.
You touched on the fact that you had to learn how to drive K&N cars last year. Also, tracks on the East Coast, you being from the West Coast, focusing on K&N East, and, of course, your experience with NASCAR Next. What are some of the things you took away from last year as a whole that maybe made you a better driver on and off the track, maybe some of the tools you used in your win this past week?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it right there, you know, having just a whole year to really go out and go into something that is way higher than I've ever competed in. You know, people say a lot about the K&N series and stuff, but out here on the East Coast, out here, I'm on the West Coast right now, but the K&N East versus the K&N West is just a whole different ball game. You know, they go to such bigger tracks. The competition is very, very, very high. And so going to those races and doing that stuff is just mind-boggling how insane it is. And when I got to go to these bigger tracks like the New Hampshires, the Gateways, the Dovers, the Bristols, it really put it all in perspective how exciting this is. And, you know, to come out of some of those races with some really solid runs, some solid qualifying efforts, and to even run up front at some of those races was pretty cool. So hopefully I can get back in that position. You know, there's still that opportunity to go back with Rev in 2020 that I'm definitely working toward, but never putting all those eggs in one basket, though.
And you mentioned it there, the difference between the K&N West. Well, just East and West racing as a whole is so much different, whether it's the access that teams have to technology and that kind of stuff and help from other teams out here. You know, West, we're pretty secluded out there in what we have access to. So it's kind of fun to go back and race because it's almost like you go back in time in a weird way to when you go to some of the races out there. But we talked a little bit about your activity away from being on the racetrack, and one of the things that you've really advocated, and especially in the last year doing the K&N East campaign, and you're going to have to help me out here on pronunciation. You have really marketed yourself with a lot of the photos of the scar that you have on the side of your head. Yeah. I've heard people ask you oh, that's a cool haircut. Why do you cut your hair like that? But it actually is with, how do you say it here? Help me out. Craniosynostosis?
Yeah, craniosynostosis. It's
so close.
Pretty close.
I was born with that. I was diagnosed, you know, when I was a little baby, and I had surgery on my skull when I was 11 months old. What craniosynostosis is a skull deformation, which for me caused, I believe it was the left side or right side of my head to be flat. It still is to this day. There is still a portion of my head that is flat. And you know, I was lucky enough to have not too serious of a type of craniosynostosis, but there are many kids out there who have it much, much worse than myself. And so I'm really pushing as I'm doing all this ride hunting and sponsor hunting. I'm also still trying to keep connections with the craniosynostosis community because there's a lot of kids out there who see that scar or see their head or, like I said, some kids have it much worse than me and see their whole like bone structure in their skull just kind of be off, and they take it as a downfall. But for me, I look at my scar and it's the reason why I'm here. It's the reason why I'm able to go out and race cars and pursue my dream. And so I try to show that to these kids and say, hey, that scar, that pump in your skull, it's you. Like you gotta wear it. You gotta flex it all you want because it's you, and it's the reason why you're able to keep doing what you're doing. So I love to talk about it, and it's a really neat story that I love to share.
And that being said, you are one of the younger kids and the younger upcoming generations of the sport. How important is it, though, to keep this connection with these young kids and having them at the racetrack? Because not long ago, we were those kids at the racetrack.
So, but no, it's a big deal because, we've all seen the articles. We've all seen, the racetracks tearing out seats, blah, blah, blah. Sport's not in a good state. It is. It's in a great state, and the sport is still huge. And you know what? All these kids who are going to these races, they're seeing cars fly by at 200 miles an hour. And to make sure that these kids who look up to these drivers can see, hey, this driver is just like me. Oh, hey, this driver is willing to stop and talk for a few minutes. Like, that's what I try to show whenever I do, like, my live streams. It was jokingly named the Ryan Vargas Power Hour on my Instagram, where I go live and I bring fans on and talk to them, do a little Q&A with them. It's a fun deal to do with them, and I really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, that involvement is definitely important, especially at the short track level. Everyone's kind of looking to find that local hero that they can watch, and what better opportunity to find your local 16, 17-year-old driver and hopefully watch them through the ranks. Well, Ryan, thanks so much for coming on today. Again, congratulations on that win out at Irwindale, and best of luck as you try continuing to put together your 2019 season plans.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully soon I'll be able to announce some stuff, but still in the works.
There you go. Good luck with that. Ryan Vargas on the guest line, a winner this past weekend at Irwindale Speedway in the late model. But when we return here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, we're going to talk about where you can find racing at your local short tracks this up and coming weekend.
O'Reilly. Restore your vehicle's lost power by cleaning your entire fuel system with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Right now, buy one bottle, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Keep your engine clean and improve performance with Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner. Buy one, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whelen designs and manufactures reliable and powerful warning lights, white illumination lighting, sirens, controllers, and high-powered warning systems for automotive, aviation, and mass notification industries worldwide. Every part of every Whelen product is proudly designed and manufactured in America and is tested on site to meet the toughest industry certifications. On the road, in the air, and around the world, Whelen is trusted to be seen, trusted to be heard, trusted to perform.
Experience different.
Boyer sees the checkered flag.
Experience excitement, drama, and action.
And he wins the STP 500.
Experience NASCAR at its best. Experience Martinsville. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series returns to Martinsville Speedway March 24th for the STP 500. Tickets start at just $47 and are on sale now. Call 877-RACE-TICKS or visit martinsvillespeedway.com today to start your experience.
Back to NASCAR Coast to Coast, brought to you by Whelen Engineering. Here are Kyle Rickey and Hannah Newhouse.
The weather finally heating up out here on the East Coast. We're finally getting some sunny days out in Concord, North Carolina. Andy, you're from New Hampshire, though. It's still pretty cold up there. None of the short tracks are even thinking about open yet, are they?
No, I've moved here 6 years ago, and you kind of forget that it's still winter elsewhere. And the big joke lately has been in New England, you post on Facebook when it's snowing outside. North Carolina, you post on Facebook when it's nice out because it's been raining forever.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's really nice that the weather's been nice. Of course, everybody from New England's probably upset with me from saying that because they're still winter was late to the party, from what I understand. It's been snowing nonstop. So April's kind of the time that the icebreaker happens at Thompson, and that's when everybody kind of starts getting going, testing tunes at a lot of local tracks. But really, May, we're spoiled. That's why we moved here, to have racing in our face and everything else. So it's exciting for me as a modified competitor. You get to start the season a little bit earlier. You come down south, and with the addition of Myrtle Beach and South Boston now. So that's pretty cool for us, and we're going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, it has not stopped raining here since like middle of January, and I'm so over it. But same thing back in Idaho. I'm pretty convinced my dad hasn't worked in a couple of weeks because it's been snowing so much. He's a big snow biker, snowmobiler. And I'm like, our season, same thing. Like April to September. In September, we were bundled up. In April, we were bundled up. But that being said, NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour does kick off their season this weekend at Myrtle Beach. Came down south for that warmer weather. And we're actually in the process of trying to get a hold of my co-host, Kyle Rickey, out in California. See if maybe we can catch him at Disneyland. He's probably in line for Space Mountain. So if we don't get, there's the dial tone. We'll see here if he has anything for our good old NASCAR Coast to Coast this week. We might be interrupting a selfie, though, so we get sent to voicemail.
He'd be pretty upset because, we'd be trying to hit that button.
And then we show up. I mean, we're obviously not on the priority list this week.
He hasn't sent it to voicemail yet, though, so there's a chance.
There's hope. He did the whole, like, Hannah move where you just click it and let it sit there because then,
Please leave your message for...
There it is. Well, that's
Kyle
okay.
Rickey.
Oh. Kyle, we miss you. We miss you, and it's Andy and I here on NASCAR Coast to Coast, and we're very disappointed that you didn't answer the phone, and we hope we didn't interrupt your selfie and enjoy your time at Disneyland.
I'm upset that I don't get more selfies, but I think we figured out why.
Yeah, we really...
If I grow my hair longer, maybe. Maybe that's it. Only shoulder length and longer. People get selfies.
Yeah, I think so. Well, miss you, Kyle, and I'll see you next Tuesday in the studio. Man, oh man. All right. Well, that being said, again, where you can find short track racing this weekend, we did say Tucson, Irwindale, Greenville, Pickens, and a couple other tracks out here did kick off their season. But this up-and-coming weekend, Hickory kicks off their local campaign, as well as South Boston, where they're going to host the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour, not this weekend, but next weekend. But a 100-lap late model race on the schedule this weekend at South Boston. Head out there. You can see reigning champions like Philip Morris and Lee Pulliam battle it out for the win. No plans for me this weekend. I was supposed to go to Myrtle Beach. I'm not. You're headed down to Myrtle Beach to race. Good luck this weekend.
You're going to miss out.
I might still end up down there. I tend to do that. I tend to just show up.
It's a race worth seeing for sure, and it's at the beach.
Yeah, right. That's my justification. It's at the beach. Well, that being said, thanks so much to our guests this week, Kyle Benjamin and Ryan Vargas. Thanks, Andy, for helping this week. For Kyle Rickey, for producers Craig Moore and Brian Yesowich, I'm Hannah Newhouse, and we'll see you next week on NASCAR Coast to Coast here on the Motor Racing Network.
NASCAR Coast to Coast has been brought to you by Whelen Engineering. For more NASCAR Coast to Coast episodes, go to mrn.com or your favorite podcast provider. NASCAR Coast to Coast is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.